And now we're turning on to the Spotlight segment, and we have our friend Hema Natarajan from Bookshare. Hema, what's going on in Northern California? We understand that even Southern California has some snow, and this is not something that happens often. But I know that coming from Northern California, where you are, you guys do get snow there. How is it going on there with you guys? And before we talk about the new Bookshare Reader.
Yeah, it's the weather here has been crazy this week, very strange for this time of the year. Thankfully, we've not had snow yet here in the Bay Area where I live in Palo Alto, but you are right. I think there is snow and blizzard warning in Southern California, and I think it's happening after 100 years or so. So yeah, it's a strange week for us.
They're getting a little dose of what some of us live with year in, year out. So, guys, drive carefully out there in Southern California. All right, Hema, let's talk about Bookshare. And thank you so much for taking your time to join us today. And we're talking about the Bookshare Reader, something we've been waiting for because I think it was last year that we heard rumors about it coming, and then it was going to be coming in the summer. And summer came and went, and we were kind of getting a little bit edgy because nothing happened. And here we are today talking about the new Bookshare Reader. Let's do a little bit of history here, Hema, if you don't mind. I know prior to this one, we had one called the Go Read. And thank you guys for making that free to those of us who are on Android. And actually, I think this one, though, came to both at the same time, isn't it? I'm talking about the new Bookshare Reader. Take us back to that history. What led you guys to developing a new Bookshare app instead of the Go Read that wasn't all that good?
Yes, absolutely, Warren. And again, thanks for having me here on this podcast and giving us, the Bookshare team, the Reader team, an opportunity to talk about the new reader. If we want to talk about history, yeah, you're right. So we had, I think, our first app for the Bookshare uh, reader was what we call Read to Go, which was launched in iOS. I would like to say
And
maybe.
then we had it as Go Read. You guys were telling me, "Come on, boy, go read." So we had Go Read on Android.
That's right. Yeah. So after iOS, it was our first Android app was Go Read, and like you said, it was free, and we still have users using Go Read. So um, in the last 2 years, I think if you have been using Bookshare, you would notice that we've also launched um, a new web reader and then a new smart speaker reader, so a Bookshare reader on Alexa. So our goal was to kind of simplify the user experience for our Bookshare users by providing similar experience in all our reading platforms, whether it's the web platform or mobile platform or smart speaker platform. So that's how this idea for a new Bookshare reader suite came about. And in terms of the user experience itself, if you do use the bookshare.org website, you would see that the new mobile reader has similar experience in terms of like the UI elements and the way you can access the EPUB books on web versus mobile. They are similar, so you don't have to learn new behavior in different platforms. So um, that is one of the main reasons why even though we have Go Read, we launched this new Bookshare reader. And the main difference between Go Read and Bookshare reader, I would say, is the new Bookshare reader mainly focus on EPUB, like ebooks. So the readers can read EPUB books that are available in EPUB format. So that those are the only books they will be able to access through our new Bookshare Reader on both Android and iOS. Like you said, we have launched in both the platforms at the same time. And so I'm hoping that we are already hearing from our Android users on what they like and what they would like to see being improved, and what are the new features they like. So we enjoy hearing back from our users, and we want to, through this podcast, as we reach more Android Bookshare users, I want to also encourage people to both tell us what you like and what you think has to be improved, and any other features that you would like to see on the reader, because we just launched it, and we have a plan to bring in a lot of new features. So
I have a question. Some of our listeners may never have heard of Bookshare or really have used it or know what it is. Could you explain that, please?
Sure. Yeah. Let me talk about Benetech first. Then Benetech is the nonprofit company that has launched the Bookshare service. So Benetech's mission is to build software for social good, and like I said, the main service that we have built is Bookshare, and through Bookshare is like the largest, I think, if I'm saying that right, the largest collection of accessible books available for users within US and outside US. So we have, I think, over 1 million titles in like 5 different formats that are very friendly to users with different needs, like users who have visual impairment, or for example, many of our users are like students in K-12 and higher ed institutions, and they and for the U.S. schools and students within U.S., Bookshare is available for free through their schools. So if anybody has a print disability, which is either visual impairment or mobility impairment or cognitive impairment like dyslexia, that doesn't let them read like a typical print material, where they need accessible books, they can reach out to their special ed teachers or through their schools, and get this membership. And once you become a Bookshare member, you have access to all these, the millions of titles that are available. Though for students, we let the teachers decide what books they. There are different kinds of memberships that you can get, and based on that membership, like decide. It kind of determines what books you can read and how you can access different books. But that's fundamentally what Bookshare is doing within US and outside of US. It's a great service for not only students but also adults who have these impairments and who want access to these books. And we always get the newest and the latest books from various publishers. We have a lot of great partnerships with the mainstream publishers within US and outside US. So thanks for asking that, Fiona. I think it was good to get that information to the users.
Are they mainly study books that you provide?
No, there are actually it's a huge collection of both textbooks and also a lot of just mainstream like novels and other kinds of nonfiction, fiction, all kinds of all genres of books. So and we do get the latest ones too. So anything, for example, like we have the New York Times bestsellers, so it's not just limited to textbooks. So it has books in all genres.
That's wonderful. So the app is going to allow people to read these books more easily.
Definitely, yeah. So
within an app.
The app is it's going to make it easy to access these books, and also just for different I guess different kinds of users who use this. For example, if a student is using it and they want to the main purpose is to improve reading fluency, what they can use this app to look at the book as it's being read. We have this text to speech feature where you can listen to the text on the screen, but you can also follow along because there is a word and sentence level highlighting that kind of goes along. So this helps with improving your reading fluency as you look at the word as it's being pronounced. So yeah, there are different features available within the app to kind of serve different needs of our users. But the app itself makes it easy to read and access any book in the Bookshare collection. So.
But they're not audiobooks. They're it's text to speech reading them. Is that correct?
Yes, for now, yes. So we do in Bookshare. If you go to the bookshare.org website, there are human narrated audiobooks available. We have a smaller collection of them, and we do plan to bring in more, from this year on. But on the app, on the Bookshare Reader app, you don't have access to human narrated audiobooks yet. We do plan to bring that feature in at some point this year, or start this year, and whenever we can. We have a list of features that we want to bring in, like bookmarks and highlights and annotations, and like help readers discover new books, right? So there is this feature called Discover that we want to bring into the app, so the readers don't have to exactly know what book they want to read. Sometimes they just come in, they don't, they would like to see what options they have on a particular genre of their interest. So we are trying to build this feature that will help them, see what's out there, like what's latest on, like, for example, fiction or romance, or, so there are multiple features that we want to bring in. So we are trying to kind of prioritize what goes in first. It's a small team, it's a nonprofit, so we are definitely resource constrained. So I guess prioritizing and bringing in the features that will benefit most of our users. That's the balance that we are striving for.
It sounds a bit like the feature. I mean, just being able to look at fiction or thrillers or something is one thing, but what would be really nice, and again, you are a non-profit and you've got to do the most important things first that most people want. But what I quite like, of course I have to pay them, but what I quite like on Amazon or Audible is that they'll say, if you enjoyed this book, you might like these ones.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they get it wildly wrong, and I think, no, why have you suggested that? But some of the suggestions are really quite good. So yeah, maybe something like that might be a nice feature in the future, because your database might realize, oh, people who have read this often then go and read that. So
yep, absolutely. So we do. I'm not sure if you have seen Bookshare.org recently, but we have this new thing that we included, which is called personalized recommendation. So in the Discover, if you go to browse on the top, you'll see Discover as one of the options, and if you click on more, you will see at the top, I think what you see there is really personalized recommendation for you based on the books you read so far. So definitely we are considering personalized recommendations and trying to make it effective for the user, instead of, like you said, instead of just giving them general options. We do want to make sure we surface books that are of interest to them based on what they have read so far. Yeah. So
especially when there are so many books to choose from, sometimes you just think, oh, there's too many, but I don't know where to start, so
yep.
that sounds like a really good thing. How would I become a member of Bookshare? How would I qualify to become a member of Bookshare? Because I always thought it was for students, you see, so I never really tried, although I am doing some studies again now, and I wonder how would I do that?
That's a great question. So if you go to bookshare.org, so you can submit, so you need to show a proof of disability to become a Bookshare member. So, if you are having difficulties with submitting that, it's very easy. Like if you call our customer support, they will just walk you through that process. And yeah, it's I know it takes a few steps, but once you get past that, it's and again, I want to also clarify that it's not just for students. We do have many adult users who use it, but there is, I think, a very nominal fee for adult users. I think, if I remember right, it's $15 per year.
It's $50 a year.
Yeah. So so it is available for adult users as well. And also it is available through libraries. So if you are, part of, whether it's a national, library for the blind, or even just, I think like regular libraries, if you go talk to them, they can reach out to us and we can set up free memberships if you have that proof of disability.
Yeah,
So,
I wondered about partnerships because I've got another app called Dolphin Easy Reader, and there's a place on there where a choice on there which I've never clicked, but called RNIB Bookshare. So it looks like you maybe have a partnership with RNIB, maybe out in the UK. Maybe we have to phone them.
yes, actually, yes, you are correct. So we do have a partnership with our, not just our, there are several premium libraries that partner with us. So, we kind of provide. See, if you go to like the website, you can see, I think, RNIB at Bookshare. So like rnib.bookshare. I don't exactly remember the URL, but it's basically the same Bookshare website, but it's modified for RNIB. So I think it would be a great idea for you to reach out to RNIB. And
yeah, I'll Google that and I'll have a look. But I thought I'd ask for the listeners too, because there's always been this misconception that Bookshare is only for students. So I'm glad we're breaking that myth, because I know it is good for students, but I'm glad I've learnt something today. So thank you for that.
Yeah, that's thanks for asking that question to clarify that for users. Yeah.
So I'm a Bookshare member from 2008, 2009, I think, when it first started in India. So I like the history and the horror book section. So at the starting, right at the starting, you said that the app will only support EPUB book format. So what if a user purchases EPUB from somewhere? Can they load it in the app, or do they require an EPUB reader?
Good question.
And which formats will support any other formats?
Yeah. So right now, the way the app works is you are allowed to, use it for Bookshare. We don't allow side loading of like EPUBs that you purchase outside. But in the future, and when I say in the future, like not in the near future, but maybe next year, we may consider adding other libraries to our app. But we haven't actually really planned yet to let the users open their EPUBs that they bought or like got downloaded from other unknown sources. So that is an interesting question, though. So we will look into it, and if we ever plan to do that, I will make sure to let you know, Austin.
And what about Bookshare being available in international Play Store, because it's only available for US, I think?
Yes, right now we launched in US on both iOS and Android, but we do have plans to launch internationally, especially in India. I want to say next half. And when we get closer and we have a definitive date time, we will announce it through our newsletter. So if you are our, if you get our Bookshare newsletter, you will be informed of that launch timeline when we are ready to do that.
Hi, Hema, Warren here. So about a month or a little over a month ago, I actually demonstrated this for our podcast when it first became available. And in my demonstration, there were areas I touched on that I wished you folks have made a little bit different, especially when it comes to the settings. Because in the main UI of the app, though, the settings is not there. You actually have to open a book before you find that settings, whether you want to customize the audio or you want to customize the text, the fonts, and all of that. Would it be possible for the development team to kind of put that? I think it makes sense that we have that settings right there in the main UI so one could customize it. And it's not like when you open a book and you tap on settings that the customization is only specific to that book. It becomes global. And if it's global, then why not put that settings right in the main UI as to bearing it in a book? So that's my one gripe that I have.
Mm-hmm.
And for the listeners who need to know, UI stands for user interface. So you're saying it's not in the main list of books, for example, Warren, it's per book. You have to change the settings.
Yeah, so
is
what
that
I'm
right?
saying is that when you open up Bookshare Reader, for example, and you've gone through all the loggings and all of that stuff, and you get to the main user interface and you have, tabs like your library, your profile, and all of that, and downloads. And there should be a settings right there, especially
Yeah, I would.
near the
That's
top
where I would
part.
expect.
I shouldn't have to open a book called
No.
Fee in London and then find the settings. So that's my grab about it. And because, like I said, when I tap on, let's say, Fee in London, and then I tap on the settings near the top there, and I choose the voice or I choose how the font should look, or I choose a background, you would think that I'm customizing it for Fee in London, but no, it becomes global to even when I open a book called Austin in Mumbai. So that's my gripe.
You would expect there to be a settings tab along with the library tab and things. That's where I'd expect it to be as well.
It is in the settings tab within the book. But when I hear what you're asking for, but the only thing is with EPUBs, there is this thing called book default. So each book comes with its own default kind of, fonts and I think like I'm just thinking about all the other settings there, like the margins and, different sizes and other things. So, and you would see that, like if you if you go to the settings tab, there is for each option there is a book default option as well. So that is one of the reasons why it is at a book level. But maybe in the future, I do see the point of bringing in certain design elements outside of it to make it, where it's generally applicable to all books. Bring it to a common kind of like the first page of the app. But right now, for that reason, we needed to keep it at the book level. And again, like I want to say, I was listening to the demo you did when you introduced the Bookshare Reader app, and it was really good. So thanks for doing that. I think we will. I think we already shared that with our users because it's like sort of a really good guide to start using the basic features of the app. So yeah, thanks for doing that.
I'm a Braille user. This is Fee again. I'm a Braille user, and I'm wondering, could I read your books through the app with Braille? Because that would be Brilliant.
Yes, so we've heard from several of our Braille users that they have been successfully able to use the Braille device along with this app. Yeah, so you should, Fiona, I would love for you to try it and let me know how your experience is.
I will, and I'll also let you know how easy it was to join and things as well.
Cool. Yeah, sure. And if you have, if you need any help, let me know too. I can connect
Thank
you with
you.
it.
So I'm being a grab today, Hema. Well, not really grabbing, but so one of the things that I had pointed out in that demo is the fact that one doesn't have a way of sampling the voices. I'm talking about the TTS readout, for example. Now, if I go to Bookshare Reader and I tap on that settings in the book, and I tap on, the audio tab, and I tap on the voices, and I open that and it takes me to the voices. It would be nice to have a sampler right there to the right of each of those voices for one to check what that voice sounds like before he or she chooses them. At the current state that it's in, I have to tap on it and then I'm back to the previous screen and I could now tap on that sample to listen to it. And so I think it's not rightly implemented. That sample or that listen to sample should be right there along with the voices before I choose the one that I want after listening to the sample.
Yes, that was great feedback. We will probably look into some design changes in that voice drop-down menu soon. In fact, with this new update that I think we got 2 days ago, I would like to say very recently, there was a small change made in how voice options are listed to make it better for our users to not just if there are like 50 voices from multiple regions and languages, we kind of listed the region and language that makes sense for that user. So it's a curated voice list, and we also have listed the language and the region in the voice of the UI itself. Like if you use that drop down, you can see that. But it is actually a good suggestion to be able to play that sample right then and there in that drop down instead of choosing one and then coming out to play sample. We'll definitely consider that, Warren, for our future design change for that.
Thank you so much.
So I'm in London, so it would probably think I would want a standard English voice. But I was reading a book on Kindle recently. They've done an audio book now, but they hadn't at the time. And it was set in Scotland. So I decided to change the voice of my phone to a Scottish voice, which funnily enough is called Fiona, like I am. So would you be able to do that, if you're in one region, but your book is set somewhere else? Would you be able to swap to a different region and hear it in a Scottish accent or something like that? Can you do that in the app?
I am not familiar with English and Scottish accent, though I'm guessing.
But if you're in the US, could you pick a UK voice, for example?
So
it wouldn't make you stay with an American one if you.
Yeah, so you would see all English locales. So basically, I think there are 9 English locales. So you will see that. But, for example, like you will not be able to see French or Spanish. Those that's how we restrict it right now. Again, it's a temporary thing as we figure out the design for it, a proper design that as we launch internationally for other markets too. We need to make sure that, like you said, if there are users who are in a certain region but want to listen to it in a regional language that's different, right? So that is something we are considering as we try to improve that design. but right now, yeah. So if it's part of one of those 9 English locales, you can change it. I think there's like an English UK, English Canada, English Australia, even English India, and I forget the others, but there are 9, I think. And these we would keep, we'll try to improve this as we. Again, those are the kind of user experiences we want to make sure is good as we launch internationally. So. And Fiona, once you get access and you try this in different English accents, I'm curious to hear your feedback on the things. And
and also some people are bilingual, aren't they? So they'll want to be able to swap between French and English, or like my mum, she's from Holland. She reads a lot. I mean, she's sighted, so she wouldn't need Bookshare, but she reads Dutch things sometimes, in Dutch.
And if in her device on the phone, like if she had chosen Dutch as one of her, like on the device settings, you have the option to choose your the audio language. If she had chosen Dutch, you would see that also, because we get that information from the device. So the voice options mainly come from the device, and that I remember, Warren, that was also one of your questions about including other voice options that are not directly native to the device, but things that are bought outside, like a cappella voices or voices you buy from third parties. Those will also be listed if you had enabled them from your device. So but if you would like to, if you have already bought it and if you want to test it out, we'll be curious to hear your feedback. But yeah, voice options are, we are constantly improving that design, and we would like to, we are open to suggestions, ideas on how to make this experience better for you all.
Hema, thank you for mentioning something that I mentioned in my review, and the fact that you guys are thinking about opening up the TTS engines that we already have on our devices. For example, you mentioned Acapella. So if I wanted to switch to Acapella from within that, that would be great. But another thing I want to say thank you about, so I'm not all about griping today, but good plug for you guys. The feature that I really like, is the fact that I could just tap on the read without the need of downloading it. And I think, to me, that is key, because you may have people now that do not have maybe devices with a lot of storage or whatever the case may be. So if all I can do is to tap and read, and I'm able to read as long as I have internet connectivity, I think that was a very wise decision on the part of the Bookshare development team. And kudos to you guys for doing that. I really like that feature.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear that, Warren. Yeah, thanks for sharing that.
And which voices are you using at the moment in the app? Like, what voices have you chosen to use? Are they the vocalizer ones, or which voices will read me my books?
These are Google voices.
Oh, they're Google ones. Okay.
Yeah. So, and that's why I was saying in my demo that it would be nice to support locally stored TTS engines. And I think that's what she's saying. They're considering working on that, and it would be good to have that. So if someone prefers to say, I want to use Eloquence, for example, if Eloquence still works on their phone, or they want to use a Pico TTS, for example, or whatever. So that would be a good thing to see it happen or come to the app. And I'm glad it's something you guys are considering.
But it's good that you're using the Google ones at the moment, though, because they, as voices go, they're not my favorite, but they're not bad.
They sound really good. They're
you could have
chosen
something really nasty like eSpeak. So I know.
Don't be rubbing my eSpeak in the floor,
if you're a fan of eSpeak, we all have our cross to bear. But
Oh my goodness, P.
Warren,
Yeah,
isn't
but
that your hide my ass engine? Isn't that what you call it?
exactly. That's what I
Okay.
call it.
Because
When I
nobody
don't
can
want
understand
some
it.
sighted person to know what is going on, I call on that hide my ass TTS engine. That's what I have eSpeak for.
Yeah, it does a job, but no, I think you choosing the Google voices as the basic voices at the moment, that's yeah, that would sound good.
Oh, and I want to also mention a few things for your listeners. So we are currently working on optimizing our tablet experience. So I think that in the next update, you will see some great improvements. And then some of the things that are coming in the future that I know several users have asked in the past are like reading lists and bookmarks and highlights and annotations. And another thing that we support on web reader that is also going to come to mobile reader is MathML support. So basically you will be able to, if a book has MathML included to visually and auditorily represent math, then that will be supported as well. So you can read and listen to math in your math textbooks or other books. So those are the things that are coming. And then we also we are constantly listening to feedback from our users, and we are always trying to improve the app. So we reprioritize based on some, if we hear about a certain feature from a lot of users, then we want to prioritize that. A few things that we have heard definitely is like forgot password, and then I think, Warren, I don't know if I remember right, I think you were also asking for like sign up on that page.
That's the one thing that is also missing there, because if someone has not gone to the website to sign up, they should be able to sign up right from the app. And right now, that isn't part of that package.
Yeah, I don't know if we will do that in the near future at all because of certain restrictions that will be placed on us if we let that happen.
Yeah.
So, because App Store has certain restrictions, if you are able to create accounts from this app, then it's considered different than, just being a client. So there are, we had to play by those rules and restrictions. So, but we are considering like forgot password shouldn't be within that restriction. So we should be able to do that. But also with the recent update, there were a lot of great improvements made for the text-to-speech experience. So if you haven't gotten the latest update on your app, please do so and try that out. And I want to say, there are other things like being able to remove books from your recent books list, or like being able to organize your downloaded books more effectively. Those are kinds of things that we are considering as part of our future updates. So so we have lots of exciting updates coming up. I know the app, we had to launch the app with sort of basic features for the users because this is a free app and we have many users, especially like students who are in need of this app. So we launched it with the basic functionality that worked for majority of our users. But we do want to keep adding new features and also fixing any other issues that you see with screen readers or any accessibility issues. So we are really focused on that as well, and think you will see a lot more improvement in the next few updates that are going to come up. So I'd like to thank you and the team here for providing us this opportunity to come and talk about this reader and what the history of it and what's coming up in the future. And so thank you for that. And like I said, we have this email alias where we like to get feedback from our users. I'll send you the email alias, Warren, if you can put that in the show notes. So maybe anybody who wants to send us any, what they like, what they want to see improvements on, or like any new suggestions on features and ideas. So they can send using that email ID. So yeah,
that all sounds great. Can I ask you one final question, which is it's about finding your place in the book when you have stopped reading and you've closed the app, and then next week you want to start again. And there's two parts to this question, because I have an app with a library in this country where it will remember your place on the same device, which is great. But if you try and read something from the same library on a different device, it won't. And this is, I'll name and shame, this is Dolphin Easy Reader, and they say they don't run the library, but they run the app, and they say, oh, if you want to sync between where you are in different devices, you have to pay. And I'm like, no, I've already paid for Audible. I'm not paying for this as well. And then if you try and use your smart speaker to read a book, it'll just start from wherever you were in its version. So I'm just wondering, what's the situation with finding the place where you got up to in your book previously on the same device and on a different one?
That's a great question, Fiona. So we do cross-device synchronization, and as I kind of mentioned in the beginning of this interview, we have these 3 different readers available for our users, right? And our goal was to not only make the experience consistent across these readers, but also give the flexibility for the user to go between these different readers, right? So we do make that possible for you. So if you are reading a book, for example, on the bookshare.org website, and you are reading through the web reader, we will remember the location. So when you come back to your mobile reader and you open that book, you will be taken to that place. So we call that the cross-device synchronization, and it is possible today. And then, like you said, so that's between the web and the mobile reader, but smart speaker is a different base. So smart speaker, you can go back to where you were within Alexa. So if you're listening to the book on Alexa and you stopped at a certain place, you can come back to it when you open it again on Alexa, but that is not getting carried over. But we do want to and plan to do that in the future. It's just that it's not, right now it's not prioritized in our list. But you are able to go between your web platforms, like if you open it on your desktop or laptop or any other device, or on a browser, in even your phone, you can go between that and your app and save that place. You can come back to that exact location.
That is great news. Thank you for that. That's good to know.
Yeah. Thanks.
And how do listeners subscribe to the Bookshare newsletter?
Oh, that's a good question. I think, as far as I understand, there is no link. So if you are interested, I think in the contact us page on the website, there is one of the options when you try to contact is newsletters. So if you just say, hey, I'm interested in receiving this newsletter, you will be added directly. But I mean, right here, if any of you want to get the newsletter, I'll add, and I'll ask our marketing team to add you.
I know Fee said that was the last and final question, but permit me to ask one more. So I'm feeling like Abraham here. Now, you got the Alexa support. Would you guys be thinking of the Google Assistant support so I could use it like on my Google Nest Hub or on my Google Home speaker, for example? Because some knuckleheads like me don't like the Alexa or Amazon stuff. Would you guys consider bringing this capability to the Google Assistant speakers at some point?
Great question. Actually, very timely. We are working on an Android Google Assistant sort of app action right now. It has. I don't know if you follow the Google Assistant or any Android announcements, but in the latest I/O, they announced that they have stopped supporting Google Voice Actions, and what they support now is App Action. So if you have an Android app, it's easy to let the users of Android mobile devices to use Google Assistant and open the app and do any action from that app, right? So for example, if you have an Android phone and you have the Bookshare Reader app installed, you can say, hey Google, open Harry Potter blah blah in Bookshare Reader, and then it will open. So that's the kind of functionality we are working on. So it will be available for Android device users soon. I'm not able to give you an exact timeline right now, but soon.
Great.
But I think Warren's talking about using it on a Google Nest or a Google Home or something, and that would just say, I'm unable to do that on this device at the moment, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that's not.
Yeah, so I think that's what they're working on. And so, Hema, now before you go, I know we've had you for so long, and thank you so much. Would you be willing to come back again, when some of these things have been implemented, or at the least come back for a 1-year anniversary of the release of the Bookshare Reader? I think so much would have happened between now and then, and it would be great to have you back here, if not sooner.
Oh yeah, I would be thrilled to do that. Yeah, like you said, I think great things would have happened between now and our first anniversary. So I'll be very interested to share all that with your listeners.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today, and congratulations to you guys for a new Bookshare Reader. And we're looking forward for you to coming back here and chatting with us again.
Thank you, Brian. Thanks for having me here, and thanks for giving us, giving Benetech and Bookshare the opportunity to talk about our readers. And and I'm looking forward to coming again like you said, at the anniversary of our launch very soon. So thank you.